I absolutely adored the first Zombies film, so I was very much looking forward to the second film. And while it's not quite as good as the first film, I still enjoyed it. This is a Disney film from 2020. This is directed by Paul Hohn, written by David Light and Joseph Rasso. And we have a cast including Milo Manheim, Meg Donnelly, and various others. And I won't go into too much detail about the narrative, but part of it focuses on the relationship between Addison and Zed. And we also have the arrival of some werewolves, which I thought was a really interesting idea because the first film very much looks at the differences between the zombies and primarily the cheerleaders, basically the non zombie characters. And then bringing in the werewolves gives us a third type of character, if you like, another character where we can have differences, things that make people separate, whereas, of course, we still have the overarching theme of celebrating those differences, bringing people together despite being different. And that's obviously something that they've continued. It's a really strong message. There are two other zombie films, and if they continue that message across the other two films, I think that that's doing a really great thing. The werewolves are actually concerned about this moonstone. There's a problem with it, and that's kind of their part of the narrative. I wasn't really that bothered about that part of the story. I didn't think it was that interesting. It's not so much that it's badly written or anything. I just didn't care. I really wasn't that bothered, but it did give them a reason to be there. So I'm absolutely okay with that. And of course, we still have some very strong messages about fitting in. The overarching narrative, not the most interesting for me, but otherwise, it was still a good experience. We have some good music and choreography. We have some gorgeous costumes. The performances are very good. I don't think it's as strong as the first film. I think there are two reasons for that. And one of them is maybe because it's a victim of its own success. But the first reason is simply I don't think the narrative is as interesting. But at the same time, I do think they've stepped it up by bringing in the werewolves. So I think they made the right decision to do that. But at the same time, I don't think it's that interesting. So I know I'm contradicting myself there, but I just think the story in the first one was stronger. But I do appreciate that they've brought in the werewolves. I do think that was the right choice. The other reason that it wasn't as good is that it didn't feel as creative as the first film or as fresh, but at the same time, it is kind of a victim of its own success because the first film was so incredible that it would have been very difficult for them to exceed that creativity, that fun, that excitement. They could have matched it, and I don't think they quite did, but certainly I don't think they ever would have been able to surpass that. So, yes, it wasn't as strong, but that's more so because the first film is very, very, very strong. But all things considered, I thought Zombies 2 was a worthy sequel. It's a decent story. I didn't love every aspect of it, but there wasn't really anything wrong with it. Bringing in the werewolves, very good decision. Great performances, lovely music, visually still very attractive. And I'm really looking forward to the third one. I don't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect with this one. I didn't look ahead. And that will be the same case for the third film. I will just go into it with no knowledge. And if you enjoyed the first film, but you haven't seen the sequel yet, then needless to say, I'd say Zombies 2 is certainly worth watching.